You know what's coming.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz.
It's time.
All season long and even in the off season, it's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I wonder if they knew at the time that this was just going to be epic. Like maybe they think about that every week when they.
Well, you never know.
That's
why Saturday Night Live is so magical. Is because, look, it's a sketch show, and I always hear people say, "Well, this show sucks. Like, there's nothing is so much of the stuff they do isn't funny." Well, yeah, that's the whole point. Is they spend a week trying to put something together. They throw all these sketches together
in a week. You got to respect the.
And they just go out there and they perform, and then you're left to judge whether or not you thought it was funny. And yeah, 90% of what they do may not be that funny, but then you have something like that that's like
more
memorable. Of course, it becomes pop culture. In this, that's why it's been such a special show for so many years.
Yeah, man, I love it. I love the comedians that got their start or bolstered their careers by going on there.
Of course, now you go on the Instagram and they have all these funny little clips from the '90s, like from Chris Farley.
Why,
thank
Eddie Murphy,
you, Pepper Boy. Like most random silly thing, but like 30 years later, 40 years later, you're watching like, oh my gosh, that's funny.
I bet even in the moments, right, people are like, oh, that's not funny, but you can recycle that, and now 15, 20 years later, like, oh, that was good.
It gets better and better over the years.
And that's why you say guys like Chris Farley.
It's like cheese.
Yeah,
cheese. It gets better with the years.
Is before their time.
Yes. So, yeah. That's what's fun about sketch comedy. And obviously the Tesh brothers nailed it with that one. Tim Robinson's great. If you're an I Think You Should Leave fan, you know. Tim Robinson wasn't on Saturday Night Live long, but it was worth it. So the Utah Jazz, the tank is worth it. It's almost done. We're almost there. It continues, though, for 24 more games. And a crucial weekend for the Jazz. Can't afford to win this week. Just can't have it happen. Not going to happen. You look at the standings. I'll give you a standings update. How far are the Jazz from the bottom? Well, I don't think they can catch the Kings. Nobody's out-tanking the Kings this year. The Kangs. They're at 13-47, and they have nobody left to play. Russell Westbrook's basically their best player at this point in his late stage of his career. The Jazz are 6 games back of the Kings for worst record in the league. The Pacers are next at 15-44, 29.5. And then the Nets are next at 15-42. Technically, the Jazz could, I think, catch the Nets. I don't know if they can catch the Pacers. When all these teams are trying to lose every game, it's tough to make up 4 games. And I don't think they need to do that. I think they just need to get bottom 4. And you're only 1 game out. And you can help yourself tonight. Like I said, they are technically 2.5 games behind the Nets. The Nets have 3 less wins than the Jazz and 2 more losses. And then the Washington Wizards are 16-41. The Jazz currently 18-40. The Jazz can take a big step tonight. They can get even closer to another spot below the New Orleans Pelicans.
Spots with the Pelicans.
Got to swap with the Pelicans this weekend. This is a big stretch for the Jazz.
They play them twice, right? Yeah.
They do play them twice.
At home.
There's a game and a half that separates the Jazz and the Pelicans, and that's who the Jazz face over the next 2 games. Tonight, they play the Pelicans at 7 o'clock, and then Saturday they play the Pelicans also at home at 7:30. And then the Jazz have to play the Denver Nuggets on Monday at home before heading out on a stretch of road games. They'll play 3 on the road, Philly, Washington, Milwaukee, and then Golden State and New York at home, and then they'll go back out on the road for Portland, Sacramento, Minnesota. So a lot of losses coming their way. Sacramento's going to be tough to lose. Listen to us looking at how hard the tanking schedule is.
I was like, I believe they can do it.
They got Washington and Sacramento coming up. There's no way they're losing. There's no way they're losing those games. We'll see. We'll see who can out-tank each other.
Oh, yeah. They'll lose those games and then go beat Denver.
No.
That's what happens.
Please no.
It's what happens. It's so stupid.
So I'm looking at the schedule, and I'll tell you how many wins I see.
I see 3 wins, possibly. So they could probably get to 21.
That would probably do it. That would probably put them exactly where they need to be. Got to make sure you keep that pick. I think they're definitely going to beat Well, I don't know if they'll definitely beat Washington. I don't know if Washington's tanking as hard as the Jazz are. But potential wins for the rest of the way. Washington on March 5th. Milwaukee's interesting on March 7th on the road. I don't know. Milwaukee's not really trying hard, but not as hard as the Jazz anyway. At Sacramento on March 15th is going to be tough to lose. Another game against Milwaukee on March 19th. Washington is in Salt Lake City on March 25th. And then after that, Memphis on April 10th. They play the Lakers. The Pelicans again, who have no reason to tank. The Thunder, the Rockets, the Nuggets, the Cavs, the Suns, the Nuggets, the Raptors, the Sixers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Portland Trail Blazers. They're not playing a lot of teams that they're going to beat, even if they were maybe – it would be a tough schedule if they were full strength right now. Mm-hmm. That's a tough schedule to end the season. And the Jazz obviously now it works out to it's kind of an easy schedule considering their circumstances.
Isn't it kind of funny? Like normally you'd be like, "Oh, that's a tough schedule. Oh man, it's tough. Oh, we got a tough schedule. Yay!"
Oh man, they got 2 games against the Wizards. How are they going to lose those games?
That's how we're thinking about it.
It sucks. We don't have to do this anymore, Jazz fans. After the season, we only have to do this for 24 more games.
You hope.
I know. There's no way the Jazz are going to be bad next year. I mean, health and chemistry will determine just how good they are next year, but they're going to be good.
Could they be this bad next year, right?
They don't have to be. The plan is complete. The Jazz will be good again next year, and we don't have to do this ridiculousness anymore. It sucks. I hate looking at the schedule. It's like, okay, where's a possible slip-up with a win here? We can't have that. That's stupid. That goes against everything I love about sports, but
right.
The Jazz are doing the right thing. It's the smart thing. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Tonight, Keyonte George out with an ankle injury. Lauri Markkanen out with that hip and ankle sprain issue. We haven't heard any results of the MRI yet. So that's that. Jaren Jackson obviously out for the season with the knee injury and that sad, unfortunate injury to Vince Williams Jr. This is the time when Vince Williams Jr. could have got a lot of run with the Jazz and kind of found his place in the rotation, and the Jazz could figure out if he's a piece moving forward. And he's not only going to miss the rest of this year, he's probably not going to be ready by the start of next year with that ACL injury, so that sucks. Yusuf Nurkic, of course, out for the season, getting that nose surgery. So that's where the Jazz are on their
tickets as low as $6. Take your kids out to the ball game.
No, you know what? Zion Williamson's in the building. He's probably going to throw down a couple crazy dunks. The Jazz have some nice young players. Bryce Sensabaugh's probably going to score 30 points tonight. Go have fun.
Yeah,
you're right.
Pelicans,
cheap ticket, cheap entertainment tonight. Great show.
Yeah, DeJounte Murray, he's back.
DeJounte is back.
He had a great last game. And he's striding here. And hey, get out of the house. $6. That's some great entertainment.
It's NBA basketball,
right?
And there's going to be a lot of guys that are playing at a high level. Look, the Jazz probably not going to win tonight. That's not the point. But these young players are going to fight hard.
Yeah.
Kyle Filipowski's going to play his tail off tonight. Bryce Sensabaugh is going to play his tail off tonight. The Jazz are going to play hard. Isaiah Collier is going to play hard tonight. He's going to play 40 minutes tonight. He's probably going to get 20 points and 15 assists tonight. There'll be plenty of entertaining moments. It's going to be worth that. I mean, that's a great bargain for pro sports. So go enjoy the game tonight. You can hear it right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Pre-game show starts at 6 o'clock. And, of course, the game will tip off right at 7. You look around the league, and the NBA is in an interesting spot. You do have these teams tanking, which is kind of overshadowing a lot of the other stuff going on. But the top of the league is good. And there's some good storylines that are going on. The Cavaliers and the James Harden situation. Going out and getting James Harden at the deadline, it actually looks like it's worked out pretty well for them. We got an update on his thumb injury, and it looks like he's going to play through the fractured thumb, which James Harden playing through a thumb injury? Dude, I'm confused.
He's no Anthony Davis.
I'm not saying I've never thought of James Harden as one of those load management guys. No, we don't call.
But he does play.
Oh, he does. No, yeah, I don't.
Unless he's like trying to get traded and he's
not street clothes Harden,
and he looks like a penguin.
Right.
Like he does play.
Yes.
And so I have to give him that. Anthony Davis is another deal, man. $50 million.
Street clothes Davis.
Street clothes Davis is wild. $50 million street clothes Davis is wild. But Yeah, man. James Harden does play, so we got to give him that kind of credit.
Absolutely.
Now, whether you like him or not, but he does bring that versatility, that veteran versatility, to Cleveland and makes them extremely dangerous going into the playoffs, especially in the Eastern Conference, right?
Yeah, they've won 8 of their last 10.
Right.
They got Sam Merrill, they got Donovan Mitchell, and now they got James Harden. They got that big front court. I think the Cavs are interesting in the East because you look at the Eastern Conference. We'll get to the West here in a minute, but Sly, the East is wide open.
Wide open.
The Pistons are kind of running away with the number 1 seed. They're 5.5 games up on the Celtics. The Pistons are 43-14 on the season, and that's another example of tanking for 3 or 4 years and then building yourself into a contender. The Jazz are doing exactly what the Pistons did, and look at the result. This is where the Jazz want to be next year. 43-14. That's the process you go through, and that's why it works. And that's why so many teams are willing to do it, because the Pistons have done it, the Thunder have done it, the Spurs have done it, the Rockets have done it, the Celtics have done it. And these are the best teams in the league. So you're following their example. That's how this works. But there's some good teams in the East. I don't think there's great teams. The Celtics, if they were able to get a healthy Jason Tatum back, I don't think they're going to this year.
I think he comes in and messes the deal up.
It's going to be interesting to find out and watch if he comes in the playoffs, if he's ready to go. We don't know yet. We have no idea if Jason Tatum's even available before June. No idea. But the Celtics, right now, without him, are a factor in the East. They could get to the Eastern Conference Finals. 38-20 right now. Mm-hmm. They're the 2nd seed in the East right now. Game and a half up on the Knicks. The Knicks are another team. I don't know what to think of the Knicks. I love Jalen Brunson. I respect the heck out of him, but can you win an NBA championship when your best player is barely 6 feet tall?
Hey, now. Short guys are standing up tall now.
Who's the last NBA team who won an NBA championship when your best player was 6'2" or below? Go.
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry is 6'4".
Is he? I thought he was 6'2".
Steph Curry is not small.
NBA standards,
He's
folks,
just got a baby face. Steph
folks.
Curry is 6'4".
Your best player is 6'2" or lower. It's a great question. I had to look that up.
That's my point. You'd have to look it up. You don't know.
Right.
So it's rare. And so that would be my question for the Knicks. I like the Knicks. They're a good team. I don't know if they're NBA Finals. I don't think they're NBA championship good. And that's got to crush the souls of Knicks fans because I think that
do it early
Brunson,
and often. As often as possible. These Knicks fans don't care about nobody else, don't care about their feelings. It's fine. They can tolerate it. They're tough. They're New York tough. They can handle a little criticism.
Brunson is a dude. He can ball out, but I just don't know that. I honestly believe that. Is Karl Anthony Towns your best player? No. I mean, they got a good lineup. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges. Mm-hmm. Miles McBride is playing 28 minutes a game, averaging 12 points per game. Josh Hart, I love Josh Hart. They picked up Jose Alvarado.
Oh.
They got Jordan Clarkson off the bench. There's some good pieces there. Don't think that is in any way, shape, or form an NBA title contender. Could they sneak in the finals in the Eastern Conference? Absolutely. Are they better than the Pistons or the Celtics or the Cavaliers? I do not think so. But they have been able to get the best of the Cavs in the playoffs the last couple of years. So we'll see. The Sixers are still out there. I like the Raptors. I don't know if they're ready yet. The Magic, injuries have kind of derailed them, and you kind of getting them. The Heat are always. It feels like the Heat are always the 8 seed. The Heat are what the Jazz don't want to be.
How about Jacob Patel still killing it in Toronto? Old Utah.
Jakob Poeltl?
Jakob Poeltl, sorry.
He's been injured.
He's playing.
Is he back?
Yeah.
Good.
And
he's had a lot of injuries.
Yeah, but it's been a long time. He's had a pretty good career, and they like him in Toronto. He's been there for a minute. And the Toronto, I'm still surprised that they're doing so well.
Yeah, you remember he got traded to San Antonio, and then he came back to Toronto.
Right.
In a trade. He's been with Toronto for the last 4 years. But, just 25 games played this year for Jakob Poeltl.
Yeah.
But you are right. He is back. He came back, looks like it right after the All-Star break. So he's played the last 4 games for him after missing quite a bit of time before Christmas and then all the way into February. So, the Raptors.
You do have a weak Eastern Conference.
You get my point. So We'll turn our attention to the Western Conference right now where it's just good luck, man. But look, the jump the Spurs made this year. is phenomenal. The Spurs are just 2 games back of the Thunder. Remember that hot start the Thunder had? What did they were like 24-1 or something?
Yeah.
It's like one of the hottest
But they
starts in
couldn't
NBA
beat
history.
They lost both. I think
The
all
Spurs?
3 of their game against
They
the
went.
Spurs.
I think it was.
They went 0-2 against the Spurs
Yeah,
to start the season.
and I think it ended up being. I don't know. I think they're done playing this year. I think it's 3 of 4. The Spurs got against the Thunder. I'd have to double check
Let
that.
me double check that.
But the Spurs have won 10 games in a row. The Spurs are back, and as a Jazz fan, that probably makes you a little sick because
They've
the
lost.
Spurs are the small market team that the Jazz always wish they could be. And back in the 90s, the Spurs wished they were the Jazz.
They're 1-4 against the Spurs this year.
Okay, 1 of 4. They played 5 times.
Or 1-3. Sorry.
1 and 3. Okay, there you go. That's what I thought. I was right. Okay. So you look at the West and you see the Thunder and Spurs at the top, and clearly that's the cream of the crop. But the Rockets are really good. Alperen Şengün, Amen Thompson, Kevin Durant. There's a lot of talent on that Rockets team, and they're right in the mix as well. They're tied with the Denver Nuggets, 7.5 games back of the Thunder. But you just keep going through the list in the West, and it's just the Thunder, the Spurs, the Rockets, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, the Lakers. I take all 6 of those teams against the best team in the East right now.
Yeah.
And I think the Suns would grind out a series win over the Pistons. I really do. That's how good the West is. And you have to understand that the Jazz did what they did for the last 4 years because that's necessary in order to compete with these franchises. Because these franchises already did what they did. The Thunder, Spurs, and Rockets completed the process that the Jazz are currently completing right now. The Nuggets got lucky with Jokic. There's just no other way to say it. They got lucky with Jokic, and they got it right with Jamal Murray, and they made a lot of good moves outside of that. But the Aaron Gordon trade put them over the top, and they've been good ever since. But who knew that the Nuggets getting Jokic in the second round would lead to an NBA title and them being good for a decade? Just a wild story. So unless you have some kind of outlier crazy story like that, you got to build in the draft. The Timberwolves tanked forever. The Timberwolves are bad forever. They stocked up number 1 picks, first-round picks, and eventually landed Anthony Edwards. They were able to use Karl Anthony Towns to move some pieces. They were able to use some other players to get the pieces that they have right now, and they used the trade market to finish off their contender roster. They've been to the Western Conference Finals the last 2 years, so don't sleep on the Timberwolves sitting there at number 5. The Lakers, I'm not sure the Luka Doncic, LeBron James chemistry, that group is going to click. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think they're going to win a first-round playoff series, but they're good. They're obviously good. They've got 2 of the best players on the planet.
Defense is atrocious.
Yeah, that's a problem for them. And at any Luka team, you're going to be bad on defense.
I mean, what the problem is like, yeah, Luka's bad, but normally in Dallas, like the other 4 guys were great. The other 4 defenders
They surrounded
had
Luka with
great
some
defenders,
tough dudes.
and so essentially you can go box and 1 on the defensive side of the ball and handle that, right? But when you pair him with LeBron, you want that star power. LeBron is 40. He's not great at defense, but he's not the worst. But he's 41,
right?
And you got Luka, whose defense is everybody wants him in the pick and roll. And so, yeah, man, it's and then Austin Reeves is not the biggest guy, but you got Marcus Smart. You got Marcus Smart, and then you got a terrible DeAndre Ayton. That's your starting 5.
Yeah, I just don't trust it. I don't trust it in a 7-game series in the playoffs.
Yeah, DeAndre Ayton is Charmin. He's Charmin himself up in there. Be 6'10" or 7 foot, whatever he is.
Yeah.
He should be way more dominant than he is.
But, man, I'm telling you, I think the playoffs are going to be great. I think the Portland Trail Blazers at number 9 in a play-in situation, I think they're going to sneak in. I don't think the Warriors are going to make the playoffs.
You think they're going to beat Kawhi?
I do.
Oh.
The Clippers moved James Harden. The Clippers aren't. They're in the mix there. They're in the
Listen,
play-in.
I've seen Kawhi has been on it.
One game, a 9-10 play-in game.
Do or die time?
I know, but a 9-10 play-in game in Portland.
Kawhi Leonard.
Denny Avdija is an all-star player. That Portland Trailblazers team's good at home.
I'm still betting on Kawhi right now.
I get that. I would take the Blazers, the young team.
Because that's a sudden death thing. That's not a series.
That's a one and done. That's a great play-in game.
Yeah.
That's a great play-in game. The winner of that game would have to beat the loser of the Suns Warriors. The Warriors aren't good. The Warriors are toast. I don't think the Warriors are going to get in the top 8. We'll see. I think either the Blazers-Clippers winner is going to play their way into that 8 seed.
Right.
And that's going to be a really, really awesome 1 through 8 in the Western Conference playoffs. That's going to be fun. A lot of fun. Let's just say, for instance, the Clippers did get that number 8 seed and they play the Thunder in the first round. You're probably watching that, right?
I am.
I'm all in. So the NBA playoffs are going to be great. And we're just about 5 weeks away from actually getting to see that. So we're in the final stretch of this NBA season.
Here before we know it.
While we watch the Jazz do what they do and finish what they have been doing, we can enjoy the NBA for what it is. We're going to break down what the Jazz are doing next with Chandler Holt, digital writer for KSL Sports and co-host of the Jazz Notes podcast. He's coming up next on JJ and Alex 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I think that should be one of our deals, is a debatable topic.
Okay.
Was Steph Curry the best player on those Kevin Durant teams?
The Warriors teams? No. Kevin Durant was better than Steph in this prime. In those 2 seasons. But Steph obviously won a couple without him too. So
Yeah, because they won the one. Was it over Milwaukee? There was no Kevin Durant there. It was his last one that he just won.
who'd the Warriors beat that year? What's wrong with my brain?
I think it was Milwaukee. Here, I got it right here. They beat Celtics.
That's right.
The Celtics, 4-2.
Yep.
But Steph Curry is 6'2".
Official height 6'2" and 3/4 barefoot. That's without shoes.
All right, so are you giving him 6'3"?
Heck yeah. With shoes on, he's probably close to 6'4".
Okay.
Like I said.
Okay. In that case, I'm 6'5", buddy. And put
your shoes on. Claim
my,
whatever. I don't care.
Put my Timbs on. I'm in there. Especially when I got my fro out. I'm really like 6'6".
Oh man.
That's like that. I feel 6'6" and bulletproof.
Let's ask Chandler Holt how tall he is. Digital writer for KSLSports.com and, of course, the co-host of the Jazz Notes podcast with Ben Anderson. Chandler, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you guys for having me on.
So you got to tell us how tall you are.
I am 6'4.5", no shoes.
Jeez!
Yeah, see? There you go. He's taller than Steph Curry.
Somebody needs to draft you. There's got to be some kind of like KSL like rec league team you got to put together or something.
That would be fun.
You're my
That would be fun.
You'd be in my lottery for sure.
Round one, pick one.
A lot of stuff going on with the Jazz that has nothing to do with winning games. I mean, we all understand what's going on right now, but there's still been plenty of drama around this team. Chandler, you've been all over it. What do you make of? I guess we can start with the tanking stuff. I'm almost tired of talking about it, but I still feel like the Jazz have been picked on a little bit. What are your feelings on it and how the Jazz have been handled by the league?
I think I'm with you. I think it is absolutely ridiculous. For some reason, when the Utah Jazz do it, and mind you, it is probably their third year doing it, fourth year doing it, maybe. Yeah. And I think the 2020 decade is the first time the Utah Jazz have ever tanked. There was that time, fresh off of the Karl Malone and John Stockton days, where they were expected to be bad, but then they exceeded expectations. So
yeah, and the year after that, I guess you could say they did, and then the Dante Exum year, maybe. But I mean, it's not like there was like
Darren Williams came right after that.
Yeah, and yeah. So, but to your point, Chandler, not very often.
Yes, and this has been a thing in the NBA since the 80s. Like, the Rockets, blatantly tanked to get Hakeem Olajuwon. This is not a new thing in the NBA. I do think it has a direct correlation to the fact that the Thunder have built the start of what could be a dynasty on the back of replacing all of their role players with young picks, and they want to get another young pick with the Jazz's, one that they owe top 8 protected. I think it is completely blown out of proportion, and I don't get how you can see the Kings, for example, rest their top 7 guys against the Jazz, but the fact that the Jazz don't play a couple of guys in the fourth quarter. Mind you, the whole reason that the player participation policy is a thing is so that you see the NBA's best talent, but for some reason it's worse when the Jazz play their talent for 3 quarters.
Well, it's worse. It's worse for the gambling companies, Chandler, but the league doesn't want to acknowledge that.
Yeah. Well, JJ's convinced the tanking is over for the Jazz. I'm not so convinced. I think that the potential is there. It's great. I like the players that they're doing. The decisions that they've made the last, I'll give it 12 months, is striding in the position to end the tanking experience of the last 5 years. Do you believe that the Jazz are done with tanking after this year?
I do, and I also think it's because they have to be. Similar to the Pelicans, who they play tonight, the Pelicans have no reason to lose because they don't have their first-round pick in the upcoming draft. The Jazz traded their pick in the next year, the best of the 3 picks between also Cleveland and Minnesota. They traded that to get Jaren Jackson, so losing them does no favors next year. They're going all out, going for it. We'll see what happens with Walker Kessler. I'm assuming they bring him back, and also Keyonte George is up for a contract soon. That all will sort of relate to what the next couple of years looks like for Utah, but the fact that they have control over their pick and also other teams' picks after next year, I do think it's over. I think they're going to go with it with Jaren Jackson. But if maybe you have an injury, maybe you need a gap year, they have that sort of ability, unlike some of these other teams like Phoenix and Milwaukee after next season. Now
the trade is done. We had a chance to see Jaren Jackson Jr. for 3 games before he had the knee surgery. They're going to add I'm sure they'll do whatever they have to do to keep that lottery pick. So they're going to add a lottery pick. We have no idea where that's going to be. It's going to be a top 8 pick. They're going to get a great player out of the top 8, by the way. The draft is unbelievable. We can talk about that at some point. But now that the trade is done, you see where this is at and see how the plan has come together. How good can this team be next year, Chandler? Where do you see them fitting into the mix in the Western Conference?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because the Western Conference is absolutely ridiculous. Like, you have OKC, you have San Antonio, you have Denver, and then other teams who maybe a jump from a young player, and they're right in that conversation. But the Jazz's biggest thing is defense. Like, that is, they've been like the 30th ranked defensive team in the league for like 2 or 3 seasons in a row. And you get Jaren Jackson, who's a former defensive player of the year. And I'm also hoping, and Jazz fans are hoping, the front office is hoping, you get jumps on that end from guys like Keyonte George and Ace Bailey. And just the size of the whole start, like the projected starting lineup, I think you could be at, like, I think your floor, honestly, is a play-in team. Of course, we'll see how it goes, and maybe there is a weird fit with Jaren Jackson when you go through the whole 82-game season, but I see them being in the postseason for the first time since 2021 next year.
What is your assessment on Will Hardy?
I think Will Hardy is an awesome head coach. He is one of the best X's and O's guys in the entire NBA. And he has had the tough task of showing the Jazz front office that he's a good coach while also listening to their commands of making sure that you're a bottom team in the NBA. Yes. And I think that you have to be especially talented to both show you're a good coach and lose games. Right. I think he has it. And after the Jazz made this Jaren Jackson deal, one of my first points was I'm very excited to see Will Hardy lead a hopefully good team next year. Yeah.
I'll be very curious to see him leading what could potentially be a contending team as well. We haven't had a chance to see that yet. It's going to be a fun change. As you look at what is left now, 24 games left, I mentioned the core moving forward. We know who those guys are, but you still have a lot of young guys in this Jazz roster that would like to be a part of that, either in the starting lineup or the rotation or be a part of their future. There's probably not going to be a room for all of them, Chandler. How important are these last 24 games for guys like Cody Williams and Isaiah Collier and Kyle Filipowski and others to show what they can do in these final games to kind of figure out where they fit on the Jazz moving forward?
Oh, immensely important. And I don't want to bring this back to tanking, but I just want to mention, like, you play Kyle Filipowski in the fourth quarter over Lauri and Jaren because you don't know if he's on the team in 2 years. Like that is absolutely a reason you do some of this stuff. Mind you, it's absolutely a kill 2 birds with 1 stone kind of move, but yeah, I think these last 24 games are instrumental, and also just the early first 2 or 3 months next year will be very important because I think Isaiah Collier has a spot locked up just because of he's in a position of need as a backup point guard. But when you're looking at Bryce Sensabaugh, Cody Williams, Kyle Filipowski, I think if you're trying to win next year, you're trusting John Conchar over all those guys just because he's a veteran and he brings sort of just like that 3-and-D mold that is proved to be instrumental in the NBA nowadays. So those 3 guys are sort of fighting with, you don't know because you need a backup center as well. Maybe it's Nurk or maybe you bring someone else in free agency, but there's not a lot of spots left on that, like sort of the 8 to 9, 10 range on the bench. So these guys are going to have to step up and show that they're willing to do it. And honestly, this is maybe not something you would expect to hear last year. My pick for it is Cody Williams, because he has proven to be the best defender of any of those guys coming off the bench. And his offense has taken a massive leap since last year. And if he can have something similar, maybe even just prove a little bit on that end going into next year, he's becoming a real, like, do the dirty work on offense, be a good defensive player. And that's what the Jazz need. Like I said, they really struggle on defense.
All right, let's talk about these last 24 games of the season, right? JJ and I were just talking about, like, which games do we have the potential of winning, right? 24 games, how many wins are we going to get out of that? I said 3. JJ says around, 4 or 5?
Maybe 4, max.
What does these last 24 games look like? But more importantly, what does this back-to-back with the New Orleans here in the next couple days look like? And as far as us winning those, DeJounte Murray's back, you understand, but he's only had one game. Is that substantial for New Orleans with Zion Williamson? Is he doing anything? Is that a potential game that Utah could sneak out a win even with trying to lose? What does these last 24 games kind of look like with all that?
Yeah, so this back-to-back, like you mentioned, DeJounte comes back. He isn't as good as he was like in his latter San Antonio years, but he's still absolutely a really solid point guard in the NBA. I think looking at this, New Orleans, they've won 2 straight, including one over Philadelphia. Tyrese Maxey has been balling, so that's a semi-impressive win. I do think New Orleans wins both of these games in Utah, especially considering Keyonte and Lauri are both out tonight, along with a laundry list of other guys, some of the season-ending injuries that the Jazz have had recently. I'm with you. I think 3 or 4 is probably the cap, and when you look at that, I think the Jazz are sort of locked into where they are in the standings. The closest team behind, or I guess ahead of the Jazz, has 21 wins compared to Utah's 18, and that's the Dallas Mavericks. So if Utah wins 3 or 4 the rest of the way, Dallas isn't losing 24 straight. So I think worst case scenario, you're coming in at 6th from the bottom, and in that case, you have a 4% chance of losing your pick only. And it would need what happened last year with all 4 teams, or 3 or 4 last year. You think you would need all 4 teams to jump into the top 4 from out of the top 4 in order to lose your pick.
You can see all his work on KSLSports.com as a digital writer for KSL Sports and also a co-host of the Jazz Notes podcast with Ben Anderson. He is Chandler Holt. Chandler, thanks so much. Great conversation. We'll do it again soon.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Chandler Holt. There's reasons to be invested in the last 24 games. I'm being serious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's why I wanted to bring that up. I know you know the Jazz are trying to lose these games, but that doesn't mean there's not something on the line for the guys that are playing. And I want to know, of those young guys, who's going to be a part of this moving forward.
Right.
And they can prove right now that they want to be a part of it and that they're capable of being a part of it. And he mentions Cody Williams. Yeah, people kind of written off Cody Williams. A lot of people are like, oh, what a bust. I don't know, man. He's coming around. He's got the length. He's that 3-and-D guy. He fits a role. You've seen growth this year. I think there's still a lot there. And Isaiah Collier's shown a lot as a backup point guard. Bryce Sensabaugh, a heater off the bench. I like those guys, and I do like Kyle Filipowski. He can get offense at that 4 position. He can help stretch the floor. So these guys have a chance to prove that they want to be a part of this moving forward and that Jazz can evaluate them. So important as far as evaluation goes for this roster moving forward. Join Scotty Friday from noon to 3 at Tim Daly Mazda in Sandy. That's at 107th 85 South. I'll say it, 10785 South Automall Drive.
That's how
you
have
know
to
where
do
Tim Daly Mazda is.
That's how you have to do the streets in Utah. You count of the hundreds.
I usually say that pretty smoothly, not that time. 10785 South Automall Drive. Join Scotty Friday from noon to 3 at Tim Daly Mazda in Sandy. We'll get you ready for Jazz Pelicans next. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on the Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Sly's been sitting in for Alex Kirry all week long. We've had a blast this week.
Oh, yeah, man. You got some donuts and everything, man.
The dough boy brought the dough show.
Hey, man, that's a good event. It's so funny. I got the dough show email last night.
You couldn't wait to tell us that story.
Oh, man, I instantly, I was like, Nephilis and JJ's going to love this.
I think somebody's bugged your phone, man. The people at the dough show,
I gave up
they heard
on
you.
Trying to stop the man from intruding on my text messages and voice all the conversations I had. I'm like, whatever. You You guys I get so many ads. I don't know what the heck is going on.
It's impossible
I
these days.
think of things. I don't even say it aloud, and it pops up on my phone. I'm like, they're in my
Isn't
brain.
that crazy?
Maybe that's what, conspiracy. Let me leave you with some
They're
conspiracy.
watching you.
That was what COVID was all about. They wanted to inject you with stuff so they could read your brain and sell
We
you
reached
ads.
the point in the show where let's turn the time over to Sly with his latest conspiracy theory. Get off the TikTok, bro.
Hey, man. That's not even TikTok. I'm not even great on social media.
But you came up with that doozy.
Hey, man. These thoughts that go through my head, nobody
They're
wants to
watching
know.
us.
Just keep feeding me donuts. I'll be all right.
You know what we're going to watch? We're going to watch the Jazz tonight play the Pelicans. I don't care that the Jazz are trying to lose. I'm still going to watch it. Why? Because I love hoop. That game tips off here shortly. The pregame show coming up here in a few seconds. The coach, Tim Lacombe, will be joined by, as always, Jake Scott. They're going to be breaking down all the action. They'll get you ready for the game that tips off a little after 7 as usual. So we're going to hand it over to Jake Scott and the coach, Tim Lacombe, here shortly. Slide real quick. Jazz lose by how much tonight?
I'd say 12, 13.
At least. If the Jazz win tonight, I'll eat a shoe instead of a donut tomorrow.
I got you.
Have a good night, everybody.